He threw one high. We won that game off a wild bitch.
7-0 in the third, and there I go. Okay, what trap song gets you in your mood?
So he does his little trap to me, and I was like, oh boy. Coming out of high school, man, a lot of dudes don't understand like how tough it really is. I'll take my odds any day of the week.
Say that again?
I'll take my odds any day of the week.
Talk your shit, bro.
Man, grew up in the Boys and Girls Club with this man. We not close friends, but we played together sports and whatnot in the Boys and Girls Club. He has gone on, went to MTSU for college, did some great work with the Golden State Warriors, Draymond Green, and he is now the assistant VP of basketball for SIG Sports. I call him Juice. Everybody around him call him Juice. We got Jacquail, Jacox in the crib. What's up, brother?
What's going on, y'all?
Yo.
Glad y'all chose to pick me.
Yes, of course,
Welcome
man.
to y'all dormitory.
Yeah, now, this gonna be cool, man. We get to just talk and kick it, man. So obviously, you went being in the agent world, man. Like all of us know about it a little bit before we started. The screen came on, and whatnot. We're discussing just contracts and agency and whatnot. So give us a little rundown on how baseball may be different than basketball, football, and so forth.
Yeah, I'll touch on one thing before we jump into that, just to kind of piggyback on the whole Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
Been knowing T since he was a kid, him and his brother. Obviously, their dad has been a very, pivotal piece in my life as far as, mentor and things of that nature. And it was crazy how this came about because I was in Whole Foods going to get some healthy stuff as they are big on health, as we know, him and his dad and him. And
Facts.
his dad was like, yo, T wants to get you on the podcast. And then my guy Troy had said the same thing. So I was like, okay, let's go and put it together. But just to kind of touch on that, man, like, watching them, grow up and then just kind of say being in that Boys and Girls Club, like a lot of people don't even know what that is to this day, and so that was the foundation to, my life as far as growing up. My mom worked with his dad. And so we was kind of, that's how everybody was able to kind of connect. And so, kudos to the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah. What you call him, T?
Nah. He thinking of
I'm thinking of his brother, Kiambu.
Kiambu.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Nah, that one he thought it was a nickname. Yeah. But we got Ro Harrison, man, whatnot. But yeah, go ahead, Harry. What y'all was talking about?
Don't do me like that.
Yeah.
But no, continue. I was just the whole contract thing and just we were talking about it off air a little bit. Just the difference between basketball and baseball and kind of like there's a time gap for baseball where, you see these top guys, they do make a big amount, but the time frame from when they get drafted to get into that money compared to basketball where it's like they're getting drafted, they're in the league, by year 2 or 3, some of these guys are already up for supermaxes. And so that's kind of, to me, it's interesting seeing that.
Yeah, It's kind of tough because, like, I think what we look at as far as, from an agency standpoint, when we're recruiting, we're looking at, the talent, the projection of an athlete, right? And some you get that are drafted first round, some you're, that are second round, some are undrafted, and they still pan out. And so you look at the basketball, view, and then you look at the baseball view, and I think if you can get a top baseball kid, or like you say, they got to go through arbitration and stuff like that, the money that they're making from a max contract compared to an NBA max contract obviously is loaded with years.
Yeah.
But I think that it ends up being more than what an NBA player, physically make. And we can just talk about what just happened with the Chinese, right? Or Japanese. He's Japanese, sorry about that. Japanese. And I mean, that much money, bro, like you got NBA players saying, man, I'm in the wrong sport because they looking at it. Even though it's a long period of time, I think a lot of NBA players would want to, lock in their future
for that
way than more so of, well, we're going to give you 3 years for 100 or 4 years for 100. It's like, that's cool. Be traded, anything can happen, but it's like, at least I know that money is guaranteed. I'm going to get that. And I think if you could have locked LeBron James in earlier, with a deal like that, you wouldn't have to worry about him, going to 3 different teams. You know what I mean?
I don't know though. I feel you, but I'm looking at a baseball player. He got to go through 3, 4, 5 years minimum before he even touched the big leagues. And so whatever he signed for out of high school or out of college, that's all he getting until he make it to the show. Versus football or basketball, they getting that. You going straight to the league, especially in football. You going straight to, or you might be on the 53 man, or you might be on the practice squad, but you still getting those 10, 12 bands every Tuesday.
Yep.
But in baseball, you getting a stipend every 2 weeks. I think they changed it now, but
it's still not great, but it has changed.
It ain't $10,000.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, you make it, it's cool. But I think sometimes baseball players might say, "Damn, wish I played football or basketball." So it's funny how we want the other sports.
Yeah, I think it's back and forth. But like to touch on what you said, the baseball part of it is that the process of getting to the money is a little bit more extreme than an NBA player playing 1 year of college basketball. Back then, was able to come out of high school and go strictly into wealth, you know what I mean? And so it is a little different, but I just think when you look at long term, it might have been tough for a baseball player to go through that process of, pennies to, maybe a $10 million deal and then coming out of arbitration and going into a $300 million deal. I just think that at the end of the day, it's still a situation where as an NBA player, you still look back and be like, would I have took that process over this, because the career is longer.
Yeah.
And so a longer career means more money at the end of the day. And so you got NBA players that's tapping out, 11 years. The average NBA, career is technically, I believe, is 5. You know what I mean? Especially if you're, somewhat middle player. You see what I'm saying? Now you got some guys that come in, it's like 1 or 2. They might go to the G League and they do 2-way deals. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But the average baseball player, probably, you guys played it, maybe 2 if you don't make it through the whole process of going
I think people retire quick, man.
Yeah, dog.
And I'm speaking from a low level, as far as guys trying to make it to the bigs,
like
right?
in the minor league system, how long they last?
They last because that's the foundation, right? Yeah. You got to go to minor, and you got to go. You goes from minor to the big. So the foundation is the minor. If you don't make it out the minor, it's like, why am I doing this? Yeah. I've got some friends that played in minor, and they're like, man, after the first couple of years, I was just like, I'm gonna go get me a job.
No, for sure. Because when I was playing pro ball, and I retired in 2018, like this was before they had minor leaguers started getting paid a little bit more livable wage. Like when I was still playing, like we getting paid way below minimum wage. So it's just like, especially like a guy like me that had my degree from Vandy, like it was easy for me to say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and retire and start my career path. Right. Like you got some other guys that may still try to chase that dream because they don't have nothing else to fall back on. And it is tough, man. I think going back to what you're saying, like that's why we as baseball players, we look at it like, dang, I wish I was a hooper or an NFL guy because I don't have to go through that process. And then even though, like you said, you go through that process and the money may be there in the long term, but like I'd rather get my bread right now, right then and there. Yeah. So I'm straight. I know I'm straight if I take care and do it the right way. So it's looked at different. And I think back in the day, people would just be like, man, I want to go get that baseball money. Right. But I feel like now I'm like, man, NBA look like what it's at. I think it's the fastest growing league as of right now, as far as just everything. Like baseball is kind of, it used to be, you say early 2000, maybe been number one, maybe kind of back and forth.
With damn home runs.
With football and all that. But I think right now it's like baseball is that third top sport.
Yeah. I think baseball is fourth.
Yeah, I mean, and kind of to touch on what you just said, like I think what you're saying is it holds some weight to it because obviously the goal for us when, representing a kid or a client, not even a kid, a young adult, is we want to make sure that we, get them the best deal to protect their financial future for the long term, right? And so when you say what you just said as far as, getting to the bag right now, you would take the bag now, then the bag later because we don't know, right? And I think with the baseball, when you see it now, like they're backloading everything. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, that's good, but you may not never see that money physically. So it's and I'm getting wrong, it's a good deal, but I think even when you look at Mookie's deal, his is backloaded to like 2039 or something like that, 2049 or something, and it's like, yeah, he's going to continue to get paid for the rest of his life, which is great. Yeah, because you can spend, you can do your thing. Hopefully, you make some good investments, but it's like, that's really your kids' money. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's just about how you process it. You know, we are pushing guys, hey, do your thing now, we can get you paid. And if you never make it past this $100 million deal, at least we can say we got the money first. You see what I'm saying? And so I think that's what everybody would want, but I just think, look at it from a standpoint of baseball players. If you are blessed enough to make it past that, arbitration stage, and you get to the point of, we're talking a max, super max contract. Yeah, I think it's worth it. Yeah, and I think everybody will say like, "Oh man, I'm in the wrong sport." Yeah, because you just don't see $300, $400 million, $500 million contracts. No, and honestly, in sports as a whole, I don't think we never would have thought, seeing something like that. Better yet, we're seeing $100 million, $200 million contracts in the NBA, almost 300. Yeah. So I think the whole landscape has changed for sure.
Why do you think? I guess 2 questions. What's the minimum for basketball?
So I don't have it off the top of my head, which I should know. But how it's slated, you got minimum deals, then you got basically average deals, and then you got max and you got super max. Okay. So they go like about 4 tiers. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So you can get a max and then you can get a super max. The super max is the big dogs, right? Yeah. And like I say, how I believe that the NBA is set up, they have it structured to the point where you have the super max talent, you have the max talent, and then everybody else is up under that. You know what I mean? And so, and when I say up under that, I mean I see a guy 2 for 30 or 3 for 30. Yeah. It's basically $10 million a year. That's a decent deal for an average player. Yeah. And then you got guys up under that who may sign the vet minimum, who's played, 10 years or better or 5 years or better, and they get a minimum. They might get 2 for 5. Gotcha. And then you go, max, you might see $100 million. Then you go super max, 258. 258. You see what I'm saying?
Like
so
3 years.
Yeah, it's like, it's just different, man. The landscape is changing tremendously, and I think if you can get to that super max or that max state, I think you're in pretty good. You're in a pretty good, situation.
Gotcha. Man, how do you even get into the whole agency world in the first place?
Man, it was tough. So I was working with my cousin Lamar Woolley, and this, if you go back and listen to every interview, this is the foundation of where it started. I was working with my cousin Lamar Woolley, who was an NFL player, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Hall of Famer at Michigan right now. He was the first, well, not the first, kind of like the 5th or 6th Jordan brand athlete, but he was one of the biggest guys that kind of brought retro Jordan back into the NFL. So now y'all starting to see a lot of retro Jordans, cleats. Yeah. He was the first guy that spoke up and said, hey, the Jordans that y'all got us wearing is ass.
Yeah, it's trash.
Like, if we're going to be MJ and be a part of Jordan brand, let's make sure we look good. Yeah. So, obviously you seen Randy Moss had their own little special PEs, but he was the one that's like, yo, we should do every Jordan like that. And so I was working with him. He kind of gave me my first opportunity to work in sports. I went to school for athletic trainer, so I wanted to be an athletic trainer. Okay. That's what I wanted to do. And so his plan was to help me get on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I kind of got there, I met with everybody, met with the staff, and I kind of pivoted, and it's kind of like, man, what you need? Kind of started doing his kind of personal assistant stuff, day-to-day management. He ended up tearing his bicep and moving out to Phoenix, Arizona. And basically, I'm here at MTSU in school, and I get a text message. What up, cuz? Heading to Arizona. What you up to? You want to come out for a couple weeks? I was working at RP Mills. I was working at Under Armour and going to school at MTSU. And I was like, shit, why not? I ain't got nothing else going on. Yeah. It's an opportunity. Flew out there to Phoenix, stayed for 2 weeks. Long story short, end up moving in with him 4 months later. Staying in Phoenix, my whole life just changed from there. Worked with a lot of NFL players. Super Bowl. And so along the way of working with him, there was this guy at Michigan State, Draymond Green. And the whole time we would do these back to school football camps, Lamar Woodley Family Foundation football camps in Michigan, and Draymond would always pull up. And so we would always kind of speak through passing, but my cousin would always just kind of always speak positive and then be like, hey, you're going to be working with him. Just watch.
Yeah.
A year later, we move out. He signs with the Oakland Raiders. I move out there with him on the football side. Boom, end up working with Dre. And so from there, got onto the basketball side, and I was like, okay, this is where really the money is at. And so me and Dre, we built a great relationship. We end up, he was represented by B.J. Armstrong and Wiseman at the time. And so my cousin had been basically preparing me, you know, for this day, and I didn't know it. As far as getting me my legal, you know, the way that I communicated, you know, how I wanted things to be in my contracts, you know, and stuff like that. He always just told me, whatever you do, make sure you got everything in contract. So I went to B.J. Armstrong, and I'm a big fan of, I respect B.J. Armstrong, and I got a story for y'all about him pretty soon. But I went to him, me and Draymond sitting in his office, and we talked about what it would look like for me to be structured in a deal. So we came to terms on a deal. It wasn't the money that I wanted, but for me starting golf and being on my first professional deal, it was something that was doable because I knew I had range to, you know, make more money off of certain other deals, marketing deals and stuff like that. And so we was able to get that deal done. And, you know, I kind of rolled that all the way out. And then obviously Dre ended up switching agencies. And it was just kind of one of those, you know, medium points where I kind of had my own company as well on working with Draymond. And so he went a different way. And then I kind of ended up going with a company called ISE, which my mentor, Joe Dumars, basically was running at the time. And he was in the process of doing the sports agency stuff. And that didn't last long. He was like, I'm not messing with this no more. And so I had my fair share of jumping around to a couple companies. And SIG Sports came up because I had met Mike, which is my boss now. I had met him throughout my process of recruiting.
Okay.
Everybody in the industry knows that if there's a top kid, Juice has probably met with him. That has always been my MO. I'm always going to make sure that no matter what, top or not, you know, because you know how they got it set up. Sometimes you just can't get to the top. We failed on a couple kids, you know, as far as recruiting, but I've always got a meeting. Yeah. And so met with Mike. He had represented Alex Lynn out in Phoenix, and we would always just see each other in the most random spots. And he was kind of like the shy guy. He'll be sitting at the top. I'll be sitting I'm the guy that's going to walk through. I'm confident. You know what I mean? I come from a confident environment. So we met, we talked, and right when Joe Dumars was leaving ISC, I was kind of like, I'm only over here with you. I don't really feel everybody else over here like that. You know, nothing personal about anything. It's just the energy that I got. I feel like they knew that I was brought in through Joe instead of going through the process of being brought in. And so I end up basically taking a meeting with Mike in DC, him and his dad, Boris, who is the founder of the company. And basically, man, we came to terms right before COVID, you know, and basically I was acquired, you know, basically took my company and brought it up under theirs. And, you know, it's been a good thing for them, but also for me as well, because, you know, I came into a company where, you know, I was able to diversify right away. You know what I mean? And that was big, you know, during that time of making sure companies had African Americans, you know what I mean? And so now we've hired a couple other African Americans, and now the company, when you look at it, it's kind of well-rounded now. And so that's kind of how I got with Sports International Group. I didn't want to go in other than an assistant. I wanted a title change. Coming from a CEO, I wanted to show people that I'm able to switch roles if needed. And so that's why I kind of went in as an assistant VP of basketball. And now I'm just kind of working with Mike and a couple of our other agents, just continuing to learn.
Gotcha. Man, I want to hear some of those Oakland stories, dog. So
Ones.
Yeah, you know, you was in that era where they was, you know, them. Yeah, they still are, but really them. And you was with Draymond. So like, I know you got some crazy Draymond stories, or just, well, everybody knows Draymond stories, but just Warriors in general.
Well, let's just put it out there right now. Draymond Green is not what people think.
I believe.
I love
Okay, let's just put that out there now.
Yeah.
I know that the image that some people see, you got to know the guy first, and if you know the guy, then you know the intentions are pure. You know, he'll give his shirt off the back. You know, if you needed it, you know what I mean. And so he's not what we see on TV. Just unfortunately, bad luck has caused suspensions, but. The stories, man. We go way back. I worked with Draymond for 11 years.
In what capacity, though?
So basically, Money Green's Enterprise, LLC, Draymond Green, all things Draymond Green was juice.
Okay.
Basically. So when you go back and look at all things, I mean, even from communicating with BJ and the agency team, you know, all things Draymond. Okay. If it was anything that was going on, you would holler at me. You know what I mean? Now, I didn't deal with financial stuff, but anything else, juice.
Gotcha.
And so just being a part of that process, 11 years, obviously 4 NBA championships and, you know, Olympic gold medal, being a part of all of that, you know, is just, I think it really has boosted me. And I think that's why my confidence is so high, because I have seen it, everything that you can possibly gain. Defensive Player of the Year. You know what I mean? I've seen it. I've seen everything. So every process that he went through and they went through as an organization, I've seen it. And so, you know, as far as some of the stories, though, that we've shared, I mean, man, y'all want funny stories?
What's the one that sticks out the most to you? Right now?
Man, it's so many, but I can probably talk about one of the stories that I think that's kind of cool, but it also kind of tells you about the type of person he is. So we were big into grilling, okay? His thing is cookout. Everybody come over, come vibe out, you know, and things of that nature. If anybody knows Draymond, they knows he will get that grill going. Yeah. Now, he may not physically be cooking himself because he'll burn some shit, you know, but, you know, a lot of times I would take that role. Now the guy that takes that role is Brownie Blends, his barber. He kind of takes that role, but he was just big on inviting people. And I remember a time where, and this was a different time, we had went out to E40 house, and E40 is a magician, obviously. Y'all know E40, Bay Area legend. We had went out to his house, man, and we was recording a song. Well, he was recording a song. We was just in there.
What you doing in the booth,
and obviously, man, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. I'm not a smoker, all right? I don't smoke. Yeah. But man, when I tell you, we walked out of that thing and it felt like we all had just been smoking a whole time. But it's just, you know, E40 just, I mean, man, it's so many stories, y'all. Like I can just go on, but from grilling to E40 to Oakland to us, having to run up out of the Uber one day, you know, because the Uber had pissed me off. So I threw barbecue sauce all on the back seat. You know what I mean? Like, we got so many stories together, man. Like, some stuff I can't just speak about, but the funny stuff, man, I remember this. This is a good story. I can tell this. We was in an Uber, man. We was going down to a club, me and Day-Day, and the Uber driver was going so slow, and he was just talking Day-Day ear off. You know what I mean? We call him Day-Day, Draymond Green Day-Day. Everybody know Day-Day. And I was just like, yo, man, like, we're trying to get somewhere. We on the time frame. Like, you need to hurry up. You know, and the guy was just being hella just
in his ways.
Just stuck in his ways. And I'm like, yo, we got to get it. So the man comes to a complete stop. It was like, y'all can get out right here. Oh, bad. Mind you, we like 4 blocks. We like 4 blocks from the club, right? We in San Francisco. San Francisco ain't the place where a guy like Draymond should be walking. So at this point, I'm like, man, we not getting out this car. You're going to drive us to our destination like we paid you to do. Mm-hmm. Get out the car. He's just going crazy, right? And I got pissed off. And this is kind of one of the things that I regret. But, you know, we people, we all have regrets that we have. Yeah. And, man, we was eating some chicken nuggets.
Chick-fil-A?
It wasn't even Chick-fil-A. I think it was McDonald's. We was eating McDonald's, bro. And this was early in the career. We didn't have chefs and stuff. We was eating McDonald's, bro, with some chicken nuggets. And man, when I tell you, I took that barbecue sauce and I put that man on that man back seat, bro. So it's crazy. So he mad, right? We take off running. We finally get to the club. We go in the club. We have a good time. Man, what about the security coming there looking for us? Hey, man, Draymond, the drive outside looking for y'all. Man, we done ran through the club, walked on the other side, caught another Uber, and got back to the crib. And so that was a funny story. Then it's crazy. A year later, I hit an Uber. I'm heading to dinner. This is how karma catches up with you. This is why I like to talk about this story. A year later, we're catching an Uber. It's me and my good friend, Matthew Barker, who's a financial guy, big financial guy in San Francisco. I called the Uber. We get in the Uber. I'm literally walking to the car, and guess who it is?
Same
Uber driver. I literally walk up to the car, and I just froze.
Like, dang.
And I said, Matt, we cannot get in this car. And I canceled it and walked the other way. But it just lets you know like how life works though, you know what I mean? Yeah. But man, fun times, man. We've been able to kick it with the best of the best. Obviously championships, you've had those, been able to just, I think the biggest moment for me though, working with Dre, that I never took for granted is being able to fly on the team plane. And you think when you get on the team plane, you heard about LeBron and his team doing it for so long, and nobody never physically showed footage of it, right? Yeah. And then you was like, okay, this has to come with winning. And so once the Warriors start winning, the rules kind of died down because now you have to cater to winners. Yeah. And you don't just got one winner, you got four. Yeah. 3 at that time. 4, you had Sean Livingston, David Lee, like Steph, Clay. Like these are guys that all have their own little entourages. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's like when you let one do it, you gotta let all. Yeah. So I mean, man, literally, bro, we would travel around the states, and I'd be on the plane. Back of the plane, mind my own business. I was never one of those guys that would sit up front and do some of the things that they was doing. I was never like that guy. I would literally go back straight to the back of the plane, get out the coach's way, let them do their thing, because I still believed in they needed their own team camaraderie to still be, who they are. And if they wanted to kind of go at each other at that time, it was none of my business. But that was a really dope moment, man.
Okay. What you got, little man?
Call him little man.
Nah, you met Draymond in college, and obviously you look at college sports now, it's a different time. We got NIL.
Yep.
Like, talk about how the NIL space has just changed sports, not even from the collegiate side, but the amateur side has impact in professional as well. Like, talk about that.
Yeah. So I would say this, college kids, NIL. NIL is not for every college kid. All right? I'll say it again. NIL is not for every college kid.
Well, why not? I'm on the team.
You on the team, but I say this to say this, right? You got some schools, some colleges that basically can do a little bit more than some schools.
Right.
And right,
big state
speak
schools.
About big state schools, right? Yeah. We could talk about Vanderbilt and what they doing. They're slowly
they're getting there.
They're getting there, right? There. And I know because I've dealt with a couple people, on the team to try to figure out how to boost the NIL, right? And so when you look at it now, every kid thinks, well, I can go to this school and I can sign the NIL.
Yeah.
NIL don't mean that you're gonna make money for your name, image, and likeness. Yep. It's not what that means. We've had clients that went to schools and literally we've tried to do everything that we could and could not get them anything. And it's just some schools just haven't caught up to the wave. And so what I would say, and I've heard other peers, in my business say, man, listen, bro, I ain't even messing with the NIL no more. If it's not a Power 5 kid, we ain't messing with it. Because I ain't no NIL agent from the get-go. Yeah. And I don't even want to sell them that. You want to get to the league? We can have you get to the league. You see what I'm saying? And so the NIL has changed the landscape, obviously, for amateur basketball. I'm totally for it. I'm not against it. But I feel like it has to be the right school, has to be the right player, and it just has to be the right branding that's part of it. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And so you can't take Little D, who got 1,000 likes, and put him with Mr. Williams, who got 100,000 likes, and think that their NIL is going to be the same. It's not. The collective is saving a lot of kids when it comes to NIL.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's what I would say. The collective. And that's basically the school allotted amount of what they have to pay for the kids.
No,
you see what I'm saying? And so that's what's really saving kids. And so when you see some of these big kids, oh, he got an NIL, because technically, if you look around college basketball or any college sports, tell me how many times do we see kids really promoting brands from an NIL standpoint? You really don't see it. But you hear about, oh, this kid just made $700,000 to go to Miami or Ole Miss or, Duke but you like, he made $700,000, but I don't see no brand, no nothing. Then you got kids that you see Adidas have jumped on, or Nike has done a collective with, or Jordan brand or something like that. But other than that, man, I don't really think, like I said, I'm for it. We're going to continue to try to navigate through it and try to make sure we're staying ahead of it. But it's not for everybody.
Yeah. Would you say it has watered down amateur sports? Because, like, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to, like, Knuckleheads, All the Smoke, and all those guys. They talk about, like, how the AAU circuit isn't as tough as it was when they were coming up. And we kind of look at it the same way for baseball. Like, baseball is completely watered down. Do you think NIL has had an impact on why the AAU circuit isn't as tough as it used to be?
I think... Well, this is what I can say. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'll say it anyway. I think NIL has made it hard for agents to recruit and represent players. Because if you don't have the money, there's a good chance you may not get that kid. And so, say for instance, I told you I've always been in the running of every top player when it comes to representation in the NBA. Nowadays, to get those meetings, it comes with a little price. If your company don't physically have the money to be wanting to dish out, it's a good chance you may not get a chance to interview with that kid.
Yeah.
Or you may not even get a chance to represent that kid.
Yeah.
Because now families and kids are more educated about the process to where they know I'm worth this much. Yeah. That's just what they think. They don't really know their true values, but they know I'm worth this much. And so it's really hard, because now you got a kid that, man, what Duke offered me $500, he only offered me $150. At that point, it's like, mama, what we got to do? We broke. We from the hood. We messed up. $150 may be a better organization for me to play in, but this $500 can take care of us for the next 3 years. Yeah. And if they doing $500 per year, and I got to stay 4 years, you add that up. Yeah. I'm a decent man coming out of college.
What's that math?
That's $500
a year.
$500 a year. That's
4 years.
That's 2.
Good job, bro.
But no, going off of that, like, I understand that, and I would say it's the same thing as far as when you talk about recruiting college and things like that. I think with kids, I would say, like, you go get your bag. I ain't telling nobody not go get their bag, but be smart about it too. Like, just because somebody else may be offering you this, don't mean it's the right place for you.
100%.
Because you may have to take that $150. Yep. If you really looking at your future, okay, can this place that I may be going to agency, whoever it may be, can they get me to that $300 million contract? Yep. 200, whatever it may be. So I think that's one thing as well when it comes to NIL. Don't just always chase the bag. If you chase the bag, but do it in a smart way.
And like I said, I look at it both ways, right? When I always go back to biblical terms. Money is the root of all evil, right? That's a real thing, right? And evil, whatever you want to call it, it is what it is. But I look at it from, it's all based off your upbringing. Yeah. My mama taught me that money is just money. You can set it on fire and you can have no more. So don't lead with money. And so a lot of kids have, went away from the upbringing and said, hey, we going after the money. But the money, when you go after money, don't mean that you're going to get to the finish line of where you're trying to go. Exactly. And so I've seen so many guys go after the money. You're like, where they at now? Are they overseas? Miserable because you took the money. Now, you're financially straight if you did what you're supposed to do with the money. Yeah. But it's just like anything else. You give a parent on the street right now $500,000. She got an addiction. What is she going to do with that money? You think she gonna do what she need to do, or she gonna go?
Yeah, mess it up.
You know what I mean? So it's like you giving kids that much money that don't even have a financial advisor, that don't have no financial literacy. You see what I'm saying? So like even with our company now, that's something that we are. All right, we're gonna go help you get the money, but we got to give you the literacy behind the money. Yep. You have to know when you are paid this money from the school, there's taxes involved. You don't just get this money. Yeah, it's taxes. Yeah. Guess what? At the end of the year, you have to pay the taxes. Do you have somebody that can pay the taxes for you? Do you even know how to pay the taxes? You know what I mean? And so
they think we up.
You know, they just think you up. And then I've heard of families who jack the money. Yeah. And it's like, well, they sent you these tax forms. What you gonna do? I didn't know. Nobody told me that. Yeah. So I would just challenge, all the families just to start educating themselves on how this process works. So when it does happen, you can be, ready. Yeah.
You said something about not being able to get those meetings as easy anymore. Mm-hmm. So you got to pay for these meetings now? Like pay just to meet the player?
I wouldn't say you got to pay to meet them, but it's almost coming to that. Okay. It's almost coming to that. And I don't want to, shit on nobody, but it's really almost coming to that for real. 5-star kids, they don't even want to sit down with you, honestly, unless it's coming with something.
Mm-hmm. But as far as agency and representation, that's not how that goes, right? Like
it's not how it goes, but if you got the money to do it, you're doing it. It's not one company out here that can't say they ain't never paid for a meeting for a kid.
I got you.
You know what I mean? I can just say where we at, we're more so of a boutique firm. We ain't doing it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just feel like you shouldn't have to do that. No. I just feel like you should make your decision based off what this person can do for you, how they can help you, how they can help your career. That's what I feel. But I'm not biased to the business. I see what's going on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you seeing some kids. I mean, I've communicated with some kids who had no information about how they signed with the agent. Well, my mama told me I'm with this agent. They had no idea because the sport is getting younger. So you're seeing ninth graders that go to OTE, they signing with agents. They have no idea about they have no idea what an agent is. But the parents are locking them in, setting their careers up for them. And it never fails. Once they get 25 to 26 and they know about the biz, they're going to say, man, damn, my parents were screwing me. Because you can't tell me as a parent, my son is a top kid in ninth grade. You can't tell me that we're sitting down at the table and we're talking about financial literacy, or we're talking about, or I'm asking my son what you want to do. You in my household. I'm paying your bills. I'm not finna go ask you what we gonna do about, and you don't know about
you a child.
I'm gonna make this decision for you. And when you're able to do it, you do it for yourself. And so you seeing that, and I just think that it's tough. Yeah, it's tough on the kids because they don't know.
So as an agent, what are those conversations like with you got that mom and dad that's living in Section 8 and they got 5 kids. He's the oldest. She got to work 2-3 shifts. Yep. And so, like, what are those conversations like to just in general?
Well, I think for me, because it's different for every person, I come from that.
I feel like you can relate more than somebody else.
That's what I'm saying. So I got to speak on me coming from that, right? And so I approach every situation and letting parents know, because I go after a certain demographic of kids anyways. You see what I'm saying? And I go after some of those kids that are from kind of, they're brought up kind of like how I was brought up. And that was Section 8, mom working 3 jobs, you know what I mean? We had to go figure it out. You know what I mean? Boys and Girls Club. Boys and Girls Club wasn't paying nobody that much money. Nah. They was doing it because they loved it. You know what I mean? And so from a representation standpoint, from kids that are coming from different parents, I think you just have to be very transparent with them. And the first thing is just trusting us to make sure that we are delivering on what we're saying we're going to do for your kid and for your family. You know what I mean? And so we always lead with family first, because I never like to see a kid or a family start in a business but don't finish in a business, because that's what you see. You see kids and families making in, and then 3 years later this dude got a whole problem with his mom and dad. I ain't messing with them no more. I ain't giving them nothing. it should never be like that. My mama didn't raise me like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you see that too much. And so we just like to make sure that we're sticking to, you know, our 3 principles, you know, and I would say my 3 principles, you know what I mean? And that's family first, professionalism second, and then protecting your future. You know, and those are my 3 things. And protecting your future, meaning if that's financially, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that when you look up 10 years from now, that financially you are secured. That means from an agency standpoint, from a contract standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, you know, from NIL standpoint, if that's what that takes. So we just want to make sure, you know what I mean? And so that's how deep I go. I've had families, I walked into houses and I'm just like, man, this look too familiar. You know, you walked in, you might have stepped on something, you like, what did I just step on? It's a roach. I'm from that, so I know what that's like. And so whatever I can do to really put them in a situation to help them out, that's what I'm willing to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
I think Ro know about roaches as well.
You look like one.
Y'all can't be doing this. Y'all can't be doing this right now. For me, I guess, like, you always hear about and trying to just transition a little bit, kind of like those closed door runs. I think we've seen a little more on, like, social media now where it's like, oh, you see, like, the high school and it's just big name guys in there. So
what's that movie on Netflix?
The Adam Sandler. What is it?
The dude from overseas. He come.
you talking about the one that just dropped?
Yeah, with
like
all
a year
those guys.
ago.
It had Anthony Edwards in it, and
Hidden Gems. There it is.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
So kind of like that, how you see those backdoor runs.
Is it Hidden
where,
Gems?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
Uncut Gems. Yeah, that's uncut. That's
I can't remember what it was, but it was a great movie.
That's the game.
But at the end of the movie, he's about to go leave and go back home to Spain, I think. And then it was like, hey, man, we got this closed door run. Trae Young's going to be there. He's going to be like, get him here type thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't really think you see that too much. But from my company is an international based company. They're founded internationally. And so they're very familiar with that. Alex Lynn came over here, literally couldn't even dribble a basketball. Ended up being a top 10 pick, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Based off of, you can say Hidden Gems, but that was Mike really putting people on him, you know what I mean? And so now it's different because they have all these different academies, you know, NBA Africa, NBA, you know, China. And so this is the opportunity where get that kid here so that he can be seen. So that's how I look at it now. It's a little bit more broad, a little bit more, you know, highlighted more than it probably was in the movie. But I just think that if you got a kid like that basically needs to be seen, you got to be willing to do some stuff to get him seen. And it can be, man, I got a kid that y'all have not looked at. He's different. You got to get out here. And teams really do be, hey, we'll send 3 scouts over there just to get a look at them. You know, it's really like that. But I haven't really done any international scouting.
Okay.
My company does that. They're over there all the time between Australia, Ukraine, China, Africa, pretty much everywhere.
Gotcha.
So, but I definitely am familiar with that, what that looks like.
Yeah. Sure. So you say you've mentioned a couple of times Juice always, like, you always get those big name guys. You're at least at the meetings. How have you felt like you've gone about trying to make sure you see all the top talent, or you're seeing all these guys? Well,
I think one, I take pride of being in the mix. You know, one of my good friends, my mentors, was just always told me, like, it's best to be seen than not to be seen. You know what I mean? And so every big event, I may not have no client in the running, but I'm there. And so I think when people look at that, they see, like, Juice is there.
Gotcha.
So, and then you just end up bumping into people. Like, I'm the type of person where I can have a conversation with somebody, and after that conversation, they're gonna be like, man, bro, hold on, I'm about to connect you with somebody. That's the type of person I am. Like, they know when you come into contact with me, they see, like, oh, this dude he ain't on nothing. Because nothing gets me too high, nothing gets me too low. I'm always kind of right in the middle. You can't tell me, oh man, this kid is a top 5 pick, I'm finna put you in a room with him. And I'm be like, okay, you know, let's see.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It ain't never like, oh shit, you call everybody.
I got one.
It's never been like that for me because I'm a true believer. You got to finish it. You know, if you can get to a meeting, but if you can't get to the finish line, it don't matter. I've been right there with a bunch of kids, couldn't finish.
Why not?
Who knows?
No.
You got your own. You know, some stuff.
Do you think the new landscape of what you're talking about with money and guys? Do you think that's going to change? How is that affecting you guys? I guess.
I think it. I mean, I think it's affecting us. I wouldn't say in the worst way, but I can say we possibly could be in the runnings a little bit more if we were willing to, you know. Give out funds or you know do stuff, but again, we're boutique. We operate off certain budgets, you know, and we just can't afford to do some stuff like bigger companies. You know what I mean? You can't do like the Wisemans, the CAAs, the Octagons, the Clutches. Like what they're doing, like it's a reason why they're big. And I don't knock none of them, but it's just a reason on why they're able to do so much. They have a mass range of relationships, you know, from coaches. You got agencies paying coaches. Man, throw me this lob. I'll take care of you on the back end. Like, that's just what it is. Like, exposed. Like, that's what it is. I've seen coaches turn me down and say, I'm already in bed with somebody. Like, what does that even mean? I don't know what that means. I don't speak that term. You know what I mean? Right. So, what does I'm already in bed with somebody mean? We all in bed with somebody. Yeah. What the hell does that mean? You know what I mean? So, you just, you know, it's just... I mean, I tell everybody, man, honestly, for the kids that wants to get in this thing, man, you got to have a hustle about yourself. You know what I mean? I think I can take pride on, I've never shitted on anybody in the business. I've never screwed anybody in the business. And I never did a rug pull to anybody. Now, I can't say what they've done to me. But I can speak on that. I can walk a clean slate and speak to everybody without saying, man, I ain't never screwed you. And everybody that has drew into me, I'm constantly always trying to help them and pay it forward. And to kind of talk about paying it forward part, I go to a story of B.J. Armstrong. And this is a story people know I've never really just vocally spoke about it, but I saved different stuff for different interviews. I remember we was in Brazil for the Olympics, and I was just really just trying to pick B.J. Armstrong. It was me and my guy Travis Walton, who was Draymond's trainer, turned COO of his company, Money Green Enterprise. And so I was just asking B.J., I was just like, man, you should kind of let me really, really like work with you to really kind of help you bolster, you know, your roster. Because at this time he had Derrick Rose, Draymond, I can't think of another kid, but he had a couple kids, but they was kind of, you know, older in their careers. He was kind of wanting to do something else. And I remember BJ told me like yesterday, man, Juice, man. He's really cool. BJ, if you ever meet BJ cool. His kids actually went to Innsworth.
Oh, okay.
And
hello.
Really cool, laid back dude, man. And he would always rub his hands. Man, Juice, man, if you don't really want to be in this business, man. This business is, you know, and I'm just like, from a young boy, young kid, young youth, a young adult at that time, why would you physically tell me I don't want to be in this business? How you know I'm not aspiring to be like you, inspiring to be like you? But you shot my dreams down, you know, unintentionally probably, but I remember that. And honestly, that's my motivation to continue to go as hard as I go. Because it was a guy, play with MJ, well respected in the industry. He physically told me, man, you ain't trying to do this, man. Like, this ain't the business you want to be a part of. And I'm like, how can you tell me that? You know what I mean? And so it's just, that always plays in the back of my mind when I'm meeting families, when I'm out here recruiting. I always got BJ saying, you don't want to do this. You know what I mean? And obviously, I ain't gonna lie, along the way, I've questioned myself, man, Juice, do you really want to do this? This business it's like the streets. I'm from that. It's not nothing new to me, but it's a different type of streets. Motherfuckers ain't getting killed. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers is getting screwed over players. Getting screwed over players. Your feelings is hurt. You may want to put your hands on somebody, but you're not physically RIPing people. You know what I mean? And so
you speak on the hustle of it. So draw some parallels of you being from your environment and this agency game? Like, what are some of those parallels that go hand in hand? Like, okay, I've seen this before, or I've done this before.
Yeah.
I can apply this to this world that I'm in now.
Yep. I'm from the west side of Nashville, right up the road up here. And so my family, hustlers, drug dealers, own property, streets, whatever you want to call it, gang members, whatever it was. Coming from that, being a part of that, I look at the NBA side and the recruiting side is you can tell a snaky motherfucker right off the go. You can just tell. You can tell a parent that is not on the same page with the mom and not on the same page with the kid. And the moment that I'm able to recognize that early, I'm out of there.
Yeah.
Because I'm big on communication. And I can't say loyalty because there's no loyalty in this. There's no loyalty in the streets, period. But there's no loyalty in this business. You know what I mean? Clients will say they rock with you.
Until
they'll leave you hanging as well. You see what I'm saying? And so it's no loyalty in the NBA business. People say, oh, it's love. None of that. And so knowing that I operate from where I'm from, it's easy for me to cut ties with somebody and still be cordial with you because I'm from that. And so when you talk about parallel, what goes hand in hand, like communication is everything. That's one-on-one. That's what you taught. You know, knowing a sneaky motherfucker, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know a motherfucker that's sneaky. You just know. You can go hang with somebody right now and be like, man, that right there, that got me no good. You know what I mean? And so you just see that part of it. You know, you see a lot of hand slapping like they love you, but behind your back they talking about you. You hear from somebody. It's a small collective group of people in this industry. And so everybody talks. And that's why I've always, when people see me out, I'm not really with my boss much. It's really just me a lot of times. And I roll like that for a reason because the more people you roll with, the more people that knows about what you got going on.
Facts.
I had to learn the hard way. It was this agent dude, I don't want to say his name, but he was working with me at All in One. And basically, I was basically mentoring him, putting him on game, just letting him know the ins and outs.
Yeah.
And basically, I was telling him what I had going on, and he used that, and he gave me a rug pull. I don't know if everybody know what a rug pull is, but it's a tech term. Basically, somebody pulls some shit up on you, and your shit fall down. And so he hit me with one of those, and so I learned then, like, okay, you can't expose yourself and can't give everybody your gems, because they're willing to either pull it from up under you or use it against you. And so for me, it's just like now I'm solo dolo. I fly around the world solo dolo. It's rarely a time where me and my boss is together. And that's mostly on presentations via Zooms, or if it's a client that I need him to come in on to kind of, you know, push it a little bit. But most of the time, man, I'm on the road solo, and I really appreciate that more than running with a pack, because I know if anybody said anything, it only came from me. I'm by myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
No, I feel that, man. Brandon Miller from up the way,
yep.
From the yacht. Went to Charlotte Hornets, played Alabama.
From Alabama, yeah.
And so a guy like that, being from here, like, what's the? I guess Nashville's not really known. For basketball players.
For sure.
At all. How have you seen that change, or is there a change at all?
Well, I think we've had a couple, Dante Jones, Marcus Kinzer.
Yeah.
You've had a couple guys. Darius Garland, who's not physically from Nashville.
Where is he going there?
You know, he went here, went to Brentwood Academy.
Yeah.
But I don't like to give it up. Well, I'll take that back. Brandon Wright, Joshua Bone, the list can go on and on. I like to give it up to Brandon just because, you know, throughout the process of him doing what he done, he could have easily went anywhere to play his last senior year. But due to the fact you've seen him stay public, I think he sit right here to me when it comes to people that has made it out of Nashville, Tennessee, because you don't see kids make it from public schools to the NBA.
No.
And so that speaks volumes of, you know, him as a person. And honestly, I don't think he really knew. I just think he was like, man, I just want to play at my high school. You know what I mean? I don't think they was really aware of what really could have took place. But I think the landscape, I don't know if you will ever see Brandon Miller over the next 3 or 4 years, but we have a couple young kids that could be something. But it really just takes a lot of. It takes a lot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's almost like the makeup of a professional baseball player.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Because right now we're going off. NBA is going off size, length. Right now the international kids got the wave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is facts.
So it's like you 6'9", I might can do something with you.
He can shoot
7 foot. You can shoot the 3. Might can do something with you. 6'2", 6'3", it's like he had to be very, very special. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's tough, but you know, Nashville future is bright. Kids stay in the gym.
What's the best state that you've seen so far? Produce the best talent.
I know they Chicago.
You already know.
It's not Chicago.
Go, man.
Man, I think Texas got a lot of prospects.
Okay.
She's like top 3.
The West Coast.
West Coast, okay.
Yeah. And then I would say
Slide Florida in there.
you can slide Florida in there, but I'm not going to shit on our. Yeah, I'm not going to shit on like the Arkansas.
Oh,
really?
Really?
Arkansas got some talent up through there, man.
Malik Monk
like,
from Arkansas.
You just gotta.
That's a different human being right there.
Atlanta, like you gotta go up through there. It's a couple
So
places
not
where
Chicago,
you know,
right?
Bruh.
you know that you can. Chicago, you got to give Chicago their Chicago.
He's saying that because he's here.
But I'm saying, but that's real. But that's real. Chicago, you can go to Pierre, like you can go to different pockets of Chicago and find somebody.
You showed
know
us
what I mean?
Jersey, New York.
I feel like they got
talent though. You know they got different type of talent. though.
We already know. That's the known.
I'm giving you the ones that nobody really talks about. But New York, you can always find you a stud in New York or two. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. New York, they breed basketball. That's all they got. They go from the projects to the courts. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Would you say international basketball, the way they're developing, is ahead of what we're doing over here in the States? Because of how early those guys become pros at 14 years old, right? Yeah. Well, I know you got OTE here, but like for the most part,
I wouldn't even say they're ahead of us because you still don't see a lot of international guys like you see American kids.
That's true.
Yeah. And so when I hear people say that, I'm like, yeah, shit, it took y'all 3 years to find one.
Yeah.
You just drafted 38, 15 USA kids. Like 10 was international. Like so they're trying. Now, as far as skill level, I think they have the makeup as far as the sizes, like Luka, point guard, Victor. What is he? Is he a center? Is he a wing? Like, and so I think you see that more often. But far as talent level, I think that we constantly show them that we are ahead of them when you see the Olympics. USA versus.
Yeah.
We constantly show.
Do you think we should start specializing at turn these kids professional at 14 years old, since they already getting represented by agents and things like that, NIL money and all of those things? Do you think we should start doing that?
I think it depends on the kid, because you're seeing it at OTE right now. You're seeing 9th graders, 8th graders go to OTE route, young professional route. But I really think it depends on the kid, because what happens when that doesn't work out?
Facts.
When you spend 4 years at OTE, 5 years at OTE, and the kid taps out because he was missing something. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I really think it depends on the kid, and I think they're doing their job to try to research the kids that are like that. But really, it's the parents, man. The parents, you got to know if you have built your kid enough mentally to know that he can sustain from being away from home and being a young adult as a 9th grader or as an 8th grader. Yeah. It's pretty hard. Yeah. I know for us, our mama was leaving us, hey, dinner is here. So it's easier. Facts. But the kids now, we know they like this.
Facts.
Mentally, they're not there.
Yeah.
So That's what I would say.
Who's the best prospect you've seen before they got to the NBA?
Out of high school.
Out of high school?
Out of high school.
Man, that's tough. I was a kid. It was different. I ain't gonna lie. Even when I played AAU back when I was with Tennessee Thunder, like I remember playing against the Josh Smiths, the Dwight Howard, dude. Them dudes is
Dwight
different.
Howard was scary.
Lou Williams.
Ooh.
I mean, you can go back to Corey Brewer.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, my brother and them played him. Tyler Smith went to UT. I mean, dog, that's when you knew. So, and that's what I'm saying. So the talent level has caught up because back then you saw 6'6", 6'7" point guards.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing it all the way around. But back then that was just, you only had one per team. You know, and if it wasn't a guard, it was a forward.
Yeah.
You know, so just when you look back then, you like the talent level back then, I think was different. You know, if you look at that whole Atlanta region, you know, who they had, Dwight, Josh, Lou Williams. I'm trying to think who else they had. Can't think of the kid name, but I mean, you just go back and look. It's just different. Yeah, the talent level is different. Now I can say the kids are better younger now. Yeah. So you see in 7th grade, 6'7", 6'6". Whether they hold backs or not, it don't matter. Yeah. I was held back in middle school, so people try to use it as an excuse. Oh, he's a holdback. It don't matter. He might have been held back for educational reasons. Yeah. Why does that matter? Because he's better. Yeah. Shit, I was held back.
Yeah. Well, their son sucks, so that's why.
Fact. You know what I mean? So
yeah, sure.
You just see it.
So me and Harry are very fashionable type of guys. Okay. See, you're a fashionable type of guy. I'm looking. Yo, Ro, not so much, but
y'all how to dress. Tell him, Ro, you a coach now, so it's a different style these days when you coach.
Shop at Opry Mills and shit, bro. Talk about y'all know how to dress.
Anyhow, man,
let that go.
We see the NBA and the NFL are way ahead of pretty much every other sport when it comes to the fashion and the marketing side of things, the tunnel walks and whatnot. One of the reasons why I think the MLB is something that they could do to make things more interesting, you know. So you think that's a part of just I guess the demographic of people that's in the sport? So it's more black people in those sports than in his baseball, and we know as black folks it's just who we are, you know. We gotta look good.
Just put it on.
Yeah.
I think the NBA, I think fashion we as African Americans, we've always spoken through fashion. That's first. With the NBA, the tunnel walls, even you seeing the WNBA doing it now, I think it's just a way for them to express, and I think it's dope. You know, it helps some with branding opportunities.
Yes.
You know, and things in that. So it's a good thing that they're doing it from a baseball standpoint. I think baseball players know, no disrespect to you guys, I just think that they know they boring anyways. You know what I mean? Like, y'all play baseball. You're not wrong. That's what I'm saying. Y'all play baseball. Y'all can't tell me that you used to be in the outfield back here like, damn, is they gonna hit the ball out here? Shit, I've been standing out here for, you know what I mean? So I just think in general, they think that they know that we're boring. Some of them don't really have major followings unless you're like the big names. And I just think they'd rather spend their money somewhere else than spending $200,000, $100,000 on fashion.
It's not a bad thing.
You know what I mean? It's not a bad thing at all.
But you see a cat like Mookie start his podcast this year, and like he's taking his branding to the next level, and I think that's just where the game needs to go. You're getting a lot more black kids coming up in the league that's in the minor leagues and things like that, and they're doing different things. Like you got Players Alliance, Minority Baseball Prospect, that's trying to just make the game more marketable. Yeah. The storytelling, like, I mean, we need it. Like, baseball for sure needs the shit.
I think if anybody knows Mookie, and I be laughing all the time because I know he's not into fashion like that. So it's either his wife or somebody on his team pushing him. Yeah. Man, you need to dress better. You know what I mean? Because I know, like, Mookie is the type of dude that'll throw on one of them old suits and it'd be baggy. You know what I'm talking about? The picnic suits that your grandparents used to wear with the
matching shoes.
Exactly, with the hat. Because he an old soul. You know, he a young dude, but he old. You know, that's the type of dude that he would be. So to see, you know, how he's rocking now, I think he hired a stylist, which is dope. You're starting to see, like I say, where baseball needs to go.
Yeah.
It is, everything is fashion based. Even for myself. I tell my boss all the time, hey man, go spend you about $10,000 on some clothes and make sure when you walk in these arenas, you getting that look.
They notice you.
When I first came in the league, dude, I was True Religions, button up.
Yeah, Nashville.
You feel me? Real Nashville. My cousin put me on the Trues. He used to take me shopping, man, go get you some Trues, it's on me. When I started to see the blow up of the Warriors and Draymond,
Look the part.
he was telling me, man, hey, man, you got to get rid of them bootcut Trues, bro. And Trues is coming back out right now.
Stop it.
I'm telling you, Trues and apple bottoms is coming back out. You mark my word.
He wearing them.
But
He would.
you know, I had to switch it up.
got your size,
and
man?
so
Go ahead.
I actually hired a stylist. Her name was Tamla. I got a couple different styles from her. My guy Vic, that used to work, he works in the business now with a lot of people. Like, style is where it's at. When I walk in the arena right now, I'm telling you, I used to hate packing outfits. I used to just like, man, you know, I'm just wear a button up. But now it's like, when you step on, you got to make sure you looking, because
Kids
clients look at that.
yeah.
Kids look at that. I got the Travis's on right now. Like,
I see what you did there.
you see what I'm saying? Like,
First thing I know,
double
you walked
olive.
there.
Yeah.
My boy Troy had to tell me, give me the green light on this, because I'm still, fashion to me is a thing that I like, but I still have trouble putting it together sometimes. And I be seeing NBA players. Y'all didn't get the green light from somebody. Y'all threw that on and thought it was gonna be cool.
That's facts.
I always send that picture to the homie or to your stylist to make sure you get the thumbs up. You know what I mean? So
I think the NBA does a great job of pushing that though and marking that, and you know that's
for sure.
kids gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
You know, representate like
I mean,
all
you
that.
got
means
high
something.
school kids doing tunnel walks. Hey, they ain't got no money.
Nothing.
They practicing.
They practicing. They getting ready.
getting ready
That's
to
what it's
write.
about. And so, you know, when you presenting to these kids, you gotta. If you ain't got fashion in your presentation,
They out.
you out.
Like this nigga lame.
You got to do Louis Vuitton, Chanel. You got to make
And you
them
can be the
visualize
best person
themselves.
for me.
Come
But
on,
if
man.
I'm looking at you and you ain't got them like.
It's important,
Whack.
man. Mama always say, hey, your first presentation is everything. When I think about even going to a high school game and I don't have the best outfit, man, I would not go. Because I'm like, why would I go set myself up when I might look janky today. I might not even want to, I might throw on a hoodie.
Yeah.
So I'm big on presentation. First time is everything. So.
All right, man. Everything's been good, man. We appreciate you and whatnot. But this last guest that we had on, we do this thing where they leave a question for the next person. Mm-hmm. And so last guest, the question was, what do you want to be known for? So that's your question to answer.
That's a good question. I think for me, far as legacy wise, I think I want to just be known for being a good person, a caregiver, a person that puts other people first in everything. Like that's me. You know what I mean? And very humble. My friends always tell me all the time, man, you really, the word we use is boot up, man. You really can be booting up. You can boot up right now, but you just
chilling.
That's me, man. And so, in a loving spirit at the end of the day. You know what I mean? That's what I would say.
All right. Now you gotta leave a question for the next person to come on.
Okay. I guess for the next person, I would say for them, what are you doing to pay it forward for the next generation?
Okay.
So whoever y'all got
like
going
that.
on, that's what I would say. So what are you doing to pay it forward for the next generation?
Well, based on what you just asked in the conversation that we had already, I think you already answered the question already.
Yeah, we were gonna put you on the spot.
But you've answered already, man. All right, brother. Appreciate you coming
It's all
on.
good,
my guy.
nah, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all keep doing
Thank you,
y'all.
man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Great to meet you.
Appreciate you.
too.
Hey, we gonna be talking. We might have to get in that baseball ring.
sure, bro. For
SIG and baseball. So
You ain't got no clients right now?
no clients in baseball.
But why not?
We just, we just ain't doubled down in that spot yet.
And y'all got hella like.
International.
We got a great mix. I mean, we do represent WNBA, NBA. We
I
did
was
do
just about to
football.
say,
We
I
got
broke
rid
it
of the
down
football
last night. It was
Yeah.
like there's a whole lot of WNBA overseas for men's and women's. So I was curious to like what I guess since it is an international company, I was like, all right, that makes sense.
So how the whole international became, and I know we didn't talk about this. I don't know if we got time or not, but the whole international piece came is because Boris was a WNBA agent, and WNBA agents wasn't able to sign people overseas without Boris. Boris was like the gatekeeper of international. Back in the day, international was the only way that girls can get paid the most money. And so they had to go through Boris, which is the gatekeeper of the international because he's from Russia. And so that's how our whole international wave comes. So when women sign to us, they're signing to us not strictly off of what we can do for them from a WNBA side, but really wholehearted what we can do for them internationally because we can get them the best deals. And so that's how that whole international thing. But like I said, we got a couple women from Nashville that signed. Alicia Clark, she just won a championship. Congratulations to her in the Las Vegas Aches. Like, she's been a part. Like, it was another young lady from Hillsboro, Isabel Harrison. She's from Hillsboro. I don't know if you remember her.
Dang, well, I thought you was from Nashville.
Basketball player I know in Nash, that's a young lady. It's Cambridge, Jelani Cambridge.
Jelani Cambridge, yeah. He's a little younger though, and his dad kind of kept them.
Really from Nashville.
They was military.
Yeah. We sheltered. We
sheltered.
Whoa.
No, he wasn't sheltered though.
He was sheltered.
He wasn't sheltered.
Man, I'm not getting started now.
They were just a little different. That's all.
I feel like this when people came to our house.
Yeah.
They put their pants up. Yeah. They ain't sagging no more. They didn't curse anymore.
Yeah.
As soon as they, hold on, do I smell good, bro? I don't smell like weed no more. No. Get back in the car, spray that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's my house.
You knew better.
But everybody came. We had fun at the crib though.
You knew better.
We playing every sport in the house: baseball, football. We breaking windows, couple TVs. Mama don't like it, but yeah.
It's real. And his dad was not playing.
Yeah,
I still don't mess with Royce.
Royce ain't playing.
What's up?
Hey, that's the only reason why I ain't never. Ooh, boy. I ain't never did nothing crazy, man. You know, can I go home and be all right if I do this?
Nah, facts.
The answer was always no. I can't go home, so I never got in trouble. But unlike Ro, who was out here,
Shot-town guy.
Don't worry about that, bro.
Yeah, we want you. Anyhow. Yeah. All right, man. That's it. Man.
I appreciate y'all.
I appreciate that.
Dope interview.
Hey, go
sure.
ahead.
All right, man. We out.
Appreciate it.
Peace.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You're not
speak on it. Speak on it.
What is it? The Valley.
We got a Valley Sports Glove, man. We got a special code, 2%, 2%. Get the glove. All my infielders, anybody outfielders, they do want a glove. They got it. Put in the code, put all that stuff in the description and whatnot, and y'all can
go get right.
Go get that training med.
Get your hands right.
Shout out to Valley Sports, man.
Yeah, Valley Sports.
We don't just catch baseballs.
Yeah. Softball too, though.
Softball. we might catch your feelings if you let us.
Ooh.
Shout out to Valley Sports, man.
Yeah.
Just put a 10 on a promotion.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's what I like to see right there.
Yeah.
All right, man. We out. Yeah.